And joining us now is Joe diGenova. Joe diGenova, hello, legal analyst, former U.S. attorney to the District of Columbia. Joe, I've said your name so many times, and I just totally blew it. Sorry about that.
No problem. Good morning.
Joe, Mark Warner was on television, and he said that William Barr, the Attorney General, has little credibility to review the origins of the Russia probe. Here's Mark Warner.
And candidly, Mr. Barr has very little credibility with me, and I think the vast majority of, candidly, not just Democrats, but many Americans, because he, time and again, is not acting as our Attorney General, but as a personal advocate for Donald Trump.
And that was on Face the Nation yesterday. The full court press on to discredit the Attorney General is happening right now. Are they going to be able to discredit him enough to take the focus off the contents of what he's going to release? Show us.
No, unfortunately for them, Bill Barr is a very serious lawyer, a seasoned litigator, Supreme Court advocate, and a great American. Mark Warner, of course, is an embarrassment to the state of Virginia and, of course, also an embarrassment to the history of the Senate Intelligence Committee, on which I served many, many years ago. Mr. Warner is part of a group of people who are trying to obstruct the investigation by the Attorney General. They will not succeed because he has something they don't. It's called a grand jury, and it's already underway under Mr. Durham. Mark Warner is like all the other people, including Adam Schiff, Blumenthal, and others. They are extremely worried about the fact that a very serious lawyer has taken over an investigation into what the Attorney General calls very unusual activity by our law enforcement and intelligence communities. So Warner will not be successful, even with the assistance of the New York Times and the Washington Post.
Mark Warner also has an interesting position in all of this insofar as he was communicating with a colleague, a guy who worked for Oleg Deripaska, the Russian oligarch, and
Yes.
trying to arrange a meeting as well with Christopher Steele.
Yes.
Interesting that an oligarch that close to Vladimir Putin is the go-between for Christopher Steele. And Mark Warner's right in the thick of it. What do we know about that?
Well, we know that that person with whom Mark Warner was working secretly as a member of the intelligence community, that person will be subpoenaed by the Attorney General. It is clear that members of the House and Senate do have certain immunities under the speech or debate clause from their official activities, but their official activities do not include communicating with people outside government. And those conversations are not privileged, and the person who was conversing with Senator Warner is subject to subpoena and will have to testify.
That's D.C. lobbyist Adam Waldman we're
That
talking
is
about.
correct. Adam Waldman is going to need a lawyer because he's going to be in front of a grand jury.
You know, Joe, all of this, and we keep hearing more and more, you're hearing about Mark Warner's involvement now. So this just goes on and on and on. What are we looking at as a timeline here? You know, we know the president gave them the okay to start declassifying stuff. We haven't heard anything. They've got that on their plate. We've got all these investigations, all these reports that we're waiting to come out. Are we going to see enough before the election in order to maybe maybe change some minds?
Oh, yes. I expect before November of 2020 that we will have most of the story, if not all of it. Barr is, he's running this. Whoever talks to him is told, get it done now. So I don't have any doubt we're going to have our answers now. You know, tomorrow, next month. I mean, I don't know. Listen, we've been waiting for Horowitz, who did this idiotic report the other day about Peter Strzok, where he finds that he lied, that he took bribes, but he didn't recommend prosecution. By the way, the Justice Department is not bound by his non-referral for criminals. They can investigate Strzok criminally on their own. Although I think it may very well be that Strzok is cooperating at this point with the Barr investigation.
Really?
Joe, I want to get a perspective from you on the Mueller report because we found out something interesting courtesy of a court-ordered transcript that was released on Friday that involves Trump attorney John Dowd. Dowd had placed a phone call to the legal counsel for Mike Flynn, and during that phone call, the transcript shows that he was trying not to violate national security, didn't want any confidential information turned over, and he said he wanted a heads up, not only for the president, but for the country during that communication. None of the quotes I just read you made it into the Mueller report. In other words, if you compare the transcripts, you have a selectively edited transcript by Mueller. Was that transcript selectively edited to hurt Trump officials, in your view?
Yes, it was done so by Andrew Weissman. I don't call it the Mueller report anymore. It's the Weissman. After watching Bob Mueller at the news conference, it's clear that he's not only lost a step, he's lost a foot and 2 legs, and he can barely move and he can barely talk. This is a Weissman special. This is what Weissman does. He files false papers in court. He demeans people. He lies about them. Just look at the report itself. We now know that there are major factual errors which were purposely done about key individuals. There are errors in there about Flynn, about Carter Page, about George Papadopoulos. I mean, he lies. Weissman and Mueller lie, saying that it was Papadopoulos who approached Mifsud. That is a bald-faced lie. It was Mifsud who was enlisted to approach Papadopoulos. I mean, he lies about the Carter Page FISA warrants. This is amazing. That's why Mueller does not want to testify. He will be unable to withstand the riveting question of the people on the Republican side. And believe me, Adam Schiff says he's going to subpoena him. Please do. Please do, Mr. Chairman Schiff. Please do subpoena Mr. Mueller. We all want him to testify.
Joe, why would Robert Mueller allow this investigation to be hijacked when he knows it's his name on it? If this isn't what he believes, if this isn't the direction he wanted it to go in, and this isn't the report he wanted, why would he allow Weissman to hijack it?
It's very simple. Bob Mueller was chosen for one reason and one reason only by Rod Rosenstein, to conduct an illicit investigation into the President of the United States to cover up illegal spying activities by the Obama administration beginning in 2012. Remember, Rosenstein and Mueller were both deeply involved in the non-prosecution of the Uranium One case. That case was in Baltimore. Rosenstein was AG. Mueller was FBI director. Their dirty hands are all over a cover-up in Uranium One. And that's what this is about. This is to protect the FBI. Mueller was a very, very close friend of Jim Comey. Bingo, nothing happens to Comey. When you look at this, and you look at Mueller's role, meeting with the president the day before he's appointed special counsel with Rosenstein.
Yes.
It stinks to high heaven.
Joe, I want to ask you, because you just brought up Hillary Clinton and Uranium One. During the interview with Bill Barr at CBS, John Huber, the U.S. attorney in Utah, was brought up. And he said, quote, the other issues he's been working on relate to Hillary Clinton. Those are winding down, and hopefully we'll be in a position to bring those to fruition. I believe you and your wife represent a whistleblower in the Uranium One case, and you say you have not been contacted by Huber. What do you make of Bill Barr's comments this past week?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I do know that Huber was a head fake with regard to the counterintelligence operation. I mean, he clearly had no intention whatsoever, Huber, of investigating his boss, Rod Rosenstein, and all the people in the FBI and DOJ chain of command. Remember, he's an Obama appointee who was kept on for some unknown reason. I think when Sessions gave him this, Sessions said, look, I got to say something to Lindsey Graham and the guys on the Hill, so I'm going to appoint you to look at this. With regard to Hillary, I have no idea what Huber's doing. I have no faith in him whatsoever. I think Bill Barr's got his hands on everything that matters, and that's what I care about.
Yeah, although he does indicate here that we should have some answers regarding Hillary from Huber soon, so we'll see what that actually means.
Yep.
Thank you very much, as always, Joe diGenova. Great to have you, sir.
You bet.
Thanks, Joe.